I am periscoping live, and I see your hearts, so you're already signing in. Hello, hi, you guys. Why don't you tell me from whereabouts you're from right now? Edmonton, okay. It's interesting to find out where people are watching in Scotland, Florida, New York. Okay, very cool. We were worried that many of you would be in school, so it would be, wow, okay, from everywhere. And so we were worried about this time of day because obviously it's noon here in Alberta, it's 2 o'clock in Toronto and Eastern time. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Well, why don't we jump into it? Welcome to everyone from all over the world, because obviously there's people from everywhere. That's kind of neat. Homeschooled, okay, that explains it. Oh, it's 7 o'clock there. You must be very far away. Well, all right, we might as well jump into it. We've got about 25 minutes or so to answer some questions, so I'm happy to jump into some Twitter questions if we have some. I have Scott here assisting me. Perfect. Heartlander_L asks, do you think fans will like the season 9 finale? Of course! What finale of Heartland have the fans not liked? There's always going to be a little bit of drama, a little bit of a cliffhanger, a little bit of exciting new twists, I think. And the season finale of Heartland this year, kind of the last 2 episodes connect, which we've done before, but they're only a day apart, I think. So it's unique that they kind of are joined in a way. The stories joined. So yes, it's very exciting. I think everyone will really like the Amy Ty story. It's very heartwarming, and there's also some really good stuff with Lou. Drama with Lou, as is expected, I guess. And Georgie has some really good stuff. And so, yeah, and there's a nice moment, too, with Grandpa and Lisa and the dog Remy. So I like that part, because Remy is my dog in real life, so I always like when I get to see her on TV and have specific roles for her. All right, what is the funniest thing about working with everyone on Heartland? The funniest thing? I don't know. I mean, everybody's got such a good sense of humor, and we really enjoy just the family aspect of each other, and we've been together for 9 years now, so we have a lot of fun on set. And so the funniest thing, I'm not sure. There's a lot of good moments every day, but yeah, I think it's just the fact that we can all work closely together for 9 years and not want to kill each other ever, so that's probably a good thing. I love the loft. I wonder, did they do any actual renos of the loft on Heartland Ranch site other than the windows? Very good question, and I know a lot of you don't want me to spoil the reality of Heartland because many of you think that it is very much real, and we try to make it as real as possible. But we do have a studio where everything that is interior is filmed. So the Heartland Ranch house, all of the interior of that is filmed in a studio in Calgary, about an hour away from the actual ranch set. The same is done with the loft. So the loft on the ranch, like was said, we did put in the windows and make it look as realistic as possible from the outside. But when you go up into the loft on the ranch, there's nothing in there. There's no apartment. It's just a big wide open space. So we created the loft space in the studio where we have the interior of the house. And that's just to make filming a lot simpler, because everything is in one area. We can jump if we need to go from the kitchen, then film a scene in the loft. We can do that without having to move all of our camera gear, equipment, and crew from an hour away from Calgary on the ranch site to the actual studio. So that makes it a little bit easier for us. And also we can control the lighting, the weather, all of that sort of thing that we can't control when we're out on the ranch. Will Caleb and Cassandra get together? Well, aren't they? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that we have seen them as a couple because the jousting episode showed them breaking up, and then they got back together. So as it stands, yes, they are still a couple. If you mean, will they get married or engaged? I don't know, I can't tell you that, but they are very much a couple throughout season 9.
I saw a good one come up there. How big is the real ranch?
Like how many acres, maybe? The real ranch sits on a plot, in Heartland we say it's 601 acres or something. The real ranch, I believe, sits on a quarter section, so it would be 160 acres. I think that's how big the place is that we actually film on. And there is a family that lives there. They don't live in the Heartland house because that's actually just a fake house that we've created for the show. So they have their own house that we don't show. And they have horses, and they use the barn and everything else. So it is a working ranch in certain aspects of it.
Here's a good one, Laurel Panchuk.
All right. What is the best quality you think Amy Fleming has, and in turn, what is the best quality Amber Marshall has? Ooh, that is a good one. I really like how determined Amy Fleming is when it comes to when she knows what's best for a horse and she knows what's best for her family or anything else. She really goes after it, and we saw that a bit with her helping Jade in the previous episode that just aired. Jade was approached by a sponsor, and Tim was worried that there was ulterior motives for that, and I think Amy has been there, done that before, and she really wanted to maintain her integrity when she was approached, so she went to Jade and said, listen, this has happened to me before. I don't want you to go through the same thing. You should really think about this. And so, yeah, I think that I really like Amy's integrity and Amy's determination. And for myself, I don't know, that's always a hard question when you're asked what qualities you like about yourself. I think for me, I'm also very hardworking. I work long hours on Heartland, and then I come home and do all my chores and look after my animals, so I'm also very motivated in that sense. But it's because I love it. You know, I really enjoy coming home and doing chores and being with my animals, so that's sort of what my leisurely time is spent doing anyway. So, how much time do you get to ride your own horses at home? Love, Hawk, and Cash. In the winter, I have lots of time to ride them. I'm going to go out and ride right after this. I try to ride 5-6 days a week in the winter when I'm not working. In the summer, it's a little more challenging because I work 12 to 14-hour days. So when I come home, there's not a whole lot of daylight left, and I have to get chores done, which takes an hour or so. And then I have to do my lines and get ready for the next day. So in the summer, I usually only ride on the weekends. My horses do get exercised quite often. I have friends that come out and ride them as well, and they have very large fields that they run in all day. So they're not hard done by in any way, but I think that I do a lot more of my riding with my own personal horses in the winter, and then in the summer I'm riding almost every day on set. How is Riley? For those of you who don't know, I am dog training, puppy sitting a dog for my dad named Riley. She's 11 weeks old now, little border collie mini Aussie cross, and she's excellent. I'm not in my house right now, so I can't go get her and show you, which I would probably do if I was at home. But yeah, she's pretty special. I'm going to be sad to give her up. All right.
Are you planning on doing any other series or movies this year?
Not sure as of yet. There's, I always in the winter, I like to do other things just because Heartland takes up so much of my time. There has been somebody approach me that we're kind of working out details, but not sure at this point, so stay tuned for that. Wondering what season of Heartland is your favorite? I actually have really enjoyed season 9. I think that's pretty standard across the board too, because our ratings have been the highest this year than they have ever before. So to go into a 9th season and people are loving it more than ever is pretty incredible. I really like how there's been a lot of different things involved in the story this year and a lot of different characters, which is really great because it shows the diversity of our cast and really what I really liked when Lou and Georgie went to New York, or not to New York, to Vancouver, because it had a really nice contrast to it. I liked seeing the cityscape as opposed to the country, just for that difference of flavor and to show how grounded the Heartland Ranch is. Because when you show that the city is so different, it really makes you love the Heartland Ranch even more. And so as the character was going through that, I think that we as an audience were going through it as well, which was really neat. I also really liked season 5, just because I personally enjoyed the Liberty work a lot. So that was the most fun I've had on set of season 5. And as far as stories go, I really liked season 9.
Somebody was looking for some beauty secrets.
Some beauty secrets? I don't know what to tell you. I'm not really the beauty person. I'm lucky if I shower every couple days. I don't know. I'm definitely not one to ask for that.
It's all natural.
Yeah. If you could have one thing happen in Heartland, what would you have? Jeez, over 9 years, there has been a lot happen on Heartland. If I could control one thing, I would really like to see the Liberty work brought back, just because that was always my favorite part of the horse world, and I think that Heartland is very much horse-centered, so why not? Why not show that again? And I also like bringing in different things. Like this year we brought in the jousting episode, which was totally unique. We've never seen that on Heartland before. So to bring in different disciplines, and that's where you guys come in too, because, you know, if you bring light to a certain discipline that you love, then maybe that'll spark the writer's interest and they'll say, oh yeah, okay, that would be cool to show. Alright, I'm just... Ever wanted to ride a bull? I ride my Jersey bull all the time, but that hardly counts because he's pretty broke to ride. So yes, I've ridden a bull, but I can't call it bull riding because he's very friendly and he's easier to ride than my horses sometimes. It's hard to read these as they come up.
Here's one. Do you ever get to...
do you ever get to suggest possible storylines? Like something you would like to do or see in an episode? Yes. The writers are very open to ideas, and they like to encourage us to come forward with anything that we think about. But that's usually between seasons, because typically once a season starts, all of the arcs or all of the stories for that whole season are already planned out. So typically, yeah, at the end of each season, they'll sit down and say, okay, if we were going to come back, what would you want to see in the next season? Or what would you like your character to do? Which is really cool to have that involvement. And I think most of the main cast go in and sit down with the writers and say, I really loved this and I'd like to expand on it. Or have you ever thought about my character doing this? So we definitely have the opportunity to have input into our characters. Have I ever not liked an episode? No. There's been moments where I haven't liked choices that I've made in the acting sense, and I'll say, oh, I really wish that I had played that differently, but there's not an episode that I've watched that I've been like, oh, that was awful. Most of the time I'm actually, I quite enjoy them, and I say, well, that came together really nice. And there'll be moments that I remember that maybe didn't work out so easily or seamlessly when we filmed it, but then it comes together and the editors just make it just beautiful. And you think, wow, it was really hard to accomplish that on the day when we were filming it, but it came across great. Do you know when season 9 will be up for purchase? I'm not sure. It's usually in the summer, probably
it'll
August.
Be just before the new season starts.
Yes, so end of August.
Somebody asked if you get to improvise at all in any of your scenes.
Good question. On the dramatic scenes, no. It's very scripted. We have to stick to it. But when we're working with horses, just because the horses don't know they're acting, a lot of times I will improvise and I'll just say what's happening in the time. So when I'm doing a join up with a horse, or I'm in the round pen, or even if I'm coaching someone, if Georgie's jumping or Roman riding or something and I'm in the middle, a lot of that I ad-lib. just because I just say what's happening in the moment as opposed to saying scripted lines. There are specific lines for those scenes, and I do try to get them out. But in between, I'll say things like, okay, sit back, okay, collect, just things that I see in the moment.
What is on your bucket list?
On my bucket list? See, I'm kind of a person that when I want to do something, I just go do it. So I don't really have a bucket list because anything that I'm like, oh, that would be fun, I try to do it. Places I guess I would like to see and travel. I would like to get to Australia, New Zealand. I've been to most places in the US. I've been to Costa Rica, I've been to Mexico, I've been to a lot of really cool destinations. So I guess if I had a bucket list for travel, my next place I would want to go is Australia, New Zealand. But my problem is I don't like being away from home for more than 5-6 days. So it's hard when you go to a place like that because the flight is so long, you want to stay there for a few weeks. And that's what's holding me back because I know personally I don't like traveling for more than 5 or 6 days.
How long does it take to train a horse for Heartland?
It depends on what the horse is doing. So each horse on the show has kind of a basic set of skills. They're all very quiet. They're very good around equipment, loud noises, lights, things like that. And they're very broke to ride. So if a horse has to come in and do a specific skill, like rear or lie down or bow or any of those things, we actually bring in a trained horse that already knows those things. So for, let's say, when Spartan was doing Liberty, we brought in Nikki Flunders horses that were already fully trained, and she'd spent at least 2-3 years with them prior to coming on Heartland, just to make sure that they were ready for this. So I wouldn't say that horses are specifically trained for Heartland. They're trained, and then we find them when we need them. Do you get to train the horses yourself on Heartland or have a hand in it? No, because like I said, they're already trained before they come on the show. But with that being said, when we have certain scenes where we have a horse that's running around the round pen and he's frantic and we have a join up, I am actually lunging him and getting that response. That's not a trained response where he or she will turn into me. That's just that moment of give for the join up. So I think that having a knowledge of horses has really helped the show. But for me specifically, training them before they come on set, no. They come from people that have been training them for years prior to being on the show.
What about the things you do with the horses on the show when they have problems? Does that really work?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. So the writers research everything extensively that you see on the show. So different herbs and things like that we show, those are proven kind of methods, I guess, and same with T-touch, same with join up. All of those things are actual training methods, healing methods, all of that kind of thing. So they are researched, and yes, before you go out and do anything that you've seen on the show, please go and talk to someone who has done it before or read up on it and really know what you're doing before you go and try to just recreate something that Amy Fleming has done.
Do you know when we're going to know if there's a season 10?
No, typically it's March. It's usually right around when the last episode has finished airing that it's the final decision is made. So I don't know for sure, but it does look very promising. I know that there has been some stories created for next year. Just in case we are going, they have to get everything in order. So I don't know, but I would say we would know by mid to end March. They come in so fast. I can't read them from here. Is the Heartland Ranch actually a real ranch, or is it a studio like most places? It's both. So we covered this a little earlier in this Periscope, but the Heartland Ranch is a real ranch, but the house that's there we built for the show specifically, and it's not a livable house. the interior of the house, the interior of the loft, and the interior of the barn are all recreated in a Calgary studio.
What's it like working with Graham?
I love working with Graham. I love working with everyone on the show, but I think that's one of the reasons that has made Heartland last so long, is that everybody gets along so well, and we love what we do, and we really enjoy the magic of TV with each other. And there's still scenes where I'll be doing a scene with Graham, I'll be doing a scene with Sean, I'll be doing a scene with Michelle, and go, that was really good. Like, you guys are awesome, and you're so fun to work with. And that's probably what has created the longevity of Heartland.
People talk a lot about Georgie being in the show too much.
Aww.
What do you think about that?
I don't think that's true at all. I think Alicia is not only a phenomenal actress, but she's also a phenomenal horse person, which is really what makes Heartland so special, is when you can have actors that are just as involved with horses outside of the show as they are in the show. That makes a huge difference, and you can just tell that she loves what she does, and she loves her horse that she has outside of the show as well, and that's just made her so much more strong as a character on Heartland, and they can do so much more with the character because she is competent around horses. So I think that she adds so much to this show, and it's also bringing in a whole different story, because now that Amy and Ty are married, we need to see that kind of love interest and young love with the teenage side of things, because that's really what Amy started with. She was 16 when Heartland first started, so she's kind of moved on to a different way of living, I guess, and it's nice to see that teenager in Georgie.
A lot of people want to meet you. Do you have any appearances or anything coming
Yes. If you're in Alberta, there is an appearance in Camrose on March 12th, I believe, and all the details will be on my website as well, so check out that, www.ambermarshall.com. And then in the Toronto area, I will be at Can-Am the first week of April, I believe, so check that out as well. And there's nothing planned for anything outside of Canada at this time, so I'm sorry. Can I speak another language? Sorry, just English. You reply to so many things on Instagram. Does that make you happy? I love Instagram. It's my favorite social media outlet, just because I really enjoy taking photos, and I have a lot of subjects. Example, all of my 30-some-odd animals love to pose for my photos, which I'm lucky. So I really enjoy that, and that's kind of the way I like to communicate, is through photos. Autograph session at Can-Am? I believe so. I'm not the person to ask. Maybe check out their website. Snapchat? Nope, never done that. Anyway, I can come into the family? Sure. How old are Amy and Ty now? When the show started, Amy was 16 and Ty was, we believe, to be 18. So, yeah, they're late 20s now. They would be 20... Amy, I think, would be around
26, yeah.
26, yeah, because we're going into 10 years. So, yeah, 26, and Ty would be 28. All right. Has my husband ever made it on the show? He's not an actor, but he's done some stunt work and things like that, so there's a few episodes where you can see him in the background doing different things. He was a bullfighter in one of the episodes, and he was in the bar fight in another episode, so every once in a while he'll do something just for fun. Do you post on your Facebook page personally? If I do, you'll know, because I have my friend JC reply to most posts, and they will always put from JC. So if it's me, there just will be nothing in front there. Would you like Amy to have a baby? Yeah, I think that would be the next step for Amy and Ty. We planned all the way up until it took so long for Amy and Ty finally to get married, and it was on and off, and even the engagement was like, okay, they're engaged, oh, now they're not. And so I think when they finally got married, that was their commitment to each other. And I think that, yeah, of course, having kids would be probably the next step if Heartland was to continue. All right. I'm going to take 2 more questions, and then we do have to wrap it up. There's so many coming through right now. English writing. How does Sean feel when you kiss on set? Sean knows it's my job, and him and I met when I was already dating Ty on the show, so he kind of knew what he was getting into, and it's my job. He's just happy that I'm on a show that is wholesome, and that's all I have to do is kiss Ty. All right, one more question. Why don't you ever celebrate birthdays on Heartland? That's false. We've celebrated lots of birthdays on Heartland. We've celebrated Jack's, Ty's, Amy's, Georgie's, and Mallory's, I think. So we obviously can't just have a whole season full of celebrating everybody's birthdays, because that would get awfully boring, but we do try to cover them every once in a while, and it's hard for such a long-running show to have new and exciting ideas come up that we haven't seen before. So we have covered a lot of birthdays in the past, but you can't really do that every episode or even every season. So I know that Jack's birthday was a big one because Amy and Jack sang together, and they had a big barbecue and all that kind of thing. So there has been a few, and then Amy baked Ty a cake on his birthday, and Amy's birthday was celebrated the very first season. So yeah, there's definitely been some birthdays, but I am going to have to wrap things up. So I thank you so much for watching from all over the world. That was pretty cool to see. And we'll do this again sometime. So thank you.